eyes and ears in the city. Loghain has been here for months. The roots of all his schemes must begin here.
The Queen, she is in a difficult position.
Are you saying the Queen believes Loghain killed Kalen?
My Queen suspects she cannot trust her father. The Grey Warden is here, my lady.
We must go quickly and avoid notice. If House people find me, I'll be killed. And my people will insist on escorting me back to the palace, where my father may also have me killed.
Warden, in the name of the Regent, I am placing you under arrest for the murder of Rendon Howe and his men-at-arms.
I'm here to free Anora, who was held captive.
What?
Sir Catherine! Praise the Maker you're here. This brigand tried to kidnap me.
What?
Bring them down!
What in Unrest's name has happened? Are you all right?
The wardens have been captured.
The others are coming. Don't worry.
There you are. Follow me, the Arl is waiting for us.
Maker's breath. It's good to see you in one piece, my friend.
Indeed. After your rather alarming lack of subtlety, I feared the worst for you. I prayed for your safe return.
What? You betrayed me!
Well, what did you expect me to do? You announced me to my father's most trusted lackey. Did the purpose of my disguise entirely escape you? I barely managed to slip away from her when we reached the palace. I am hoping that, despite our unfortunate beginning, we can still work together. Will you hear me out?
All I want is information on how to defeat Loghain.
You have only just arrived in the city, so perhaps you are unaware of some recent events. Denerim has been in turmoil since Ostagar. Many people here are angry or grieving. Strangely, the unrest is worst in the Alienage. Few elves accompanied the army. They should have little reason to be upset, which means that Howe and my father must have given them reason. I don't know what is happening there, but I am certain my father has his hands in it.
A useful lead, Anora, but you could have sent this information with your maid.
That is true. I feared for my safety as Howe's prisoner. But to tell the truth, I sent Elissa to you because I hoped we might join forces. You need that evidence for the Landsmeet. But you also need a stronger candidate for the throne. You need me.
And what of Alistair?
I have no doubt Alistair is biddable enough, and decent, but even with his blood, he is no king. You think only I can see it? Not only that, Alistair is a Grey Warden. It will look like you are trying to put a Grey Warden on the throne, despite your claims. I am a neutral party, and I am already queen.
Anora, you are indeed Kalen's widow, but...
I am the daughter of Ferelden's greatest general. Who do you think truly ruled this nation for the last 5 years? Kalen. I am what this country needs, not an untrained king who does not even want the throne. I can help you stop my father. Consider what I have said. For now, I think I will retire to my room. Warden, when you have a moment, I ask that you speak to me in private.
Well, she's quite spirited. I remember when Loghain first brought her to Denerim. Poor Kalen was a good boy, but Anora was always 2 steps ahead. Had him jumping when she snapped since the first time she batted her eyelashes. I cannot help thinking she may be trouble, but we should keep her close, all the same.
Why do you think she's trouble?
This is an alliance of convenience. For the moment, we are united against Loghain. Be careful how much trust you place in her. I do not for a moment think Anora means to give up her power easily. Still, I would rather have her where we can watch her than actively working for Loghain.
But aren't we planning to depose her?
Anora was a capable administrator for Kalen's lands, but she has not a drop of royal blood. We did not fight the Orlesians all those years just to lose our royal line in a single generation. Not when there's a surviving son of the blood.
Alistair doesn't know the first thing about being king.
No, I don't, which I've told both of you on many occasions. If Anora's turned against Loghain, I say let her keep the crown. It looks better on her anyway.
You're both wrong. With a few months of experience, Alistair will make a fine king. He knows how to lead troops to defend his land. He knows how to stand and fight for justice. He knows how to show compassion to those less fortunate, and how to trust to the Maker's guidance to know right from wrong. And he knows who to turn to for aid, should that training fail him. He will be fine.
Why is it so important to put Marik's son on the throne?
Ferelden was first united by Calenhad, the Silver Knight. For 400 years, his descendants have ruled Ferelden. That was the heritage we preserved from the Orlesians. And it is the heritage I will fight for as long as one of Calenhad's descendants still lives. Without that to unite us, we could scatter back to warring Turniers.
What do you think Loghain is doing in the Alienage?
Maker knows what that man is capable of now.
I've got work to do.
Of course, if I might make a suggestion, go speak with Anora. She will either be a powerful ally or a powerful enemy, and the sooner we know which she is, the better.
Hello again, friend. It looks as though you're no worse for wear after your stay in Fort Drakon.
What are your plans now?
When I'm well enough, I'm going to continue my journey toward Ostagar. Hopefully I'll be able to trace the heart of the Blight and where the Archdemon itself abides. If we want to defeat this Archdemon, we need to know where it is and how soon it might strike.
You're going alone? Shouldn't I go with you?
If there were more of us, I would agree. But as it is, I don't think we can deprive all the armies you've gathered of a commander.
Did you know Duncan very well?
We went through our joining together, more years ago than I like to remember. He was exactly the same back then, tough as stone and just as grizzled. I think he understood sooner than the rest of us how ugly a choice it is to let the few be sacrificed to protect the many. Always left himself a soft spot for his recruits, though. Only where he ever let himself down.
I was hoping I could learn a bit more about Grey Wardens.
Well, I'd be happy to tell you what I know, but it seems to me that you've picked the important parts up yourself. Be firm in your beliefs, protect people from their own ignorance, and be as loyal as you can to your brothers, even knowing you'll share their deaths.
How were the Wardens founded?
It was near 1200 years ago, and no one knows for sure, except that it began with a group of Ander soldiers. Apparently, they defected from their king's army, vowing that fighting the Blight was more important, and traveled all the way to Tevinter themselves. They were the first ones to track down the archdemon Dumat, and the ones to slay him, although none survived the battle. But they had picked up followers by then, and it was they who formally founded the Order, and were recognized by Thedas.
Why has it been so long since the last Blight?
Archdemons don't awaken on their own, you know. It takes the Darkspawn, tunneling and tunneling, searching for centuries to find one. And with no one to lead them, it must be sheer chance, or maybe instinct, which leads them. What's surprising isn't that it takes so long between Blights. What's surprising is that they succeed at all. But I imagine the old gods call to them. And it's that voice in the darkness which drives them through so many generations.
How many wardens are there?
It's tough to say. Only the fortress in Weishaupt has every record. But there are certainly a few dozen or hundreds in every nation in Thedas. The Anderfells are home to over 1,000. It's almost like the Archdemon chose Ferelden deliberately, knowing how unguarded it is.
Have you ever been to the fortress in Weishaupt?
Once only, and I'd rather not go again. It's far, lass, and very foreign. The wardens there, they fight Darkspawn like you and me, but they're shaped by the winters there and the forest. They're a cold group and don't care like they should about the rest of the world. Their king is weak, and many Anders look to the wardens to rule. I hate to say this, but some of them seem to want it that way.
I guess that's all for now.
The important thing to remember is, none of that matters. When you're facing Darkspawn, all you need to know is to stop them at all costs.
Hello again, Warden. It is good that you came to speak with me. I realize that my actions at Howe's estate may not have painted me in the best light. For that, I apologize and hope that we can start again. First, let me say that I knew your family. Eleanor, in particular, was dear to me, and what Howe did was unforgivable. How fitting he died at your hands. I will be blunt. I can see that your voice will be a strong one in days to come. It is to you that Eamon listens, and with good reason. My father must be stopped, but once that is done, Ferelden will need a ruler. I would welcome your support for my throne.
You think you're a better candidate than Alistair?
Do you disagree? You are a fellow Grey Warden. What do you think of Alistair's potential to rule? Never mind his willingness.
Being a good ruler requires more than ambition.
Alistair seems like a kind, well-meaning man, and biddable enough. These are admirable qualities, if not kingly ones. He also seems to be a fine Grey Warden, which is exactly why he should remain one and serve the kingdom by defeating the Darkspawn.
Just how do you know so much about him?
Cailan knew of Alistair. It was Arl Eamon that kept Alistair out of the courts, as Merrick had desired. Oh, there are some who would follow Alistair out of respect for his Therin blood. The others would see this as Eamon grabbing for power. Who else do you think Alistair would turn to for help? Eventually, the nobility would return to the old days of constant warring with each other. Alistair's weakness would destroy everything Merrick built.
I disagree with that assessment.
I simply believe that I am what this country needs. I will fight for what I believe. Would Alistair do the same? Thus, I say again, I would welcome your support for the throne if you would give it.
Why should I support you?
For years, I have ruled this kingdom as Cailan's queen. As much as they loved Cailan, all of the Banon knew this to be so. Cailan was a good man, but what is needed now is not another good man, but a good ruler. I sent Alina here not solely because I thought I needed help, but because I saw an opportunity for us both. I need your support, Warden, and you will need mine.
I don't think I'm as important as you believe.
No? You're a Grey Warden, and despite the fact that my father will paint himself as the only one who can protect the country from the Blight, it is not so. Secondly, you saved Arl Eamon from a plot that no doubt had its origins in Hal's sick little mind. People will not forget that. You are competent and powerful, and in the right place at the right time. Used to your advantage, these things could bring you far.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I agree that there is much to be done before the lands meet, but don't you think plans should still be made for what will follow? I do.
Are you proposing an alliance?
That is exactly what I am proposing. When the time comes, you support my bid in the Landsmeet to remain on the throne. You will be seen as my father's enemy, yet you will be in support of his daughter. You will be seen as supporting the interests of Ferelden, as opposed to solely those of the Grey Wardens. In return, I add my voice to yours. Do you see? Together we can do what alone we cannot.
What happens to Loghain if you're queen?
He is my father, as well as a great general, who has served his nation well until now. If there is a way for him to live, I would prefer it.
If there is a way, I wouldn't oppose it.
I am glad to hear it. In the end, it will be up to the Landsmeet to decide, I think. Does that affect your decision? Can we yet come to an arrangement?
No. I can't support you.
Ah, that's too bad.
Will you support Alistair at the Landsmeet?
Marrick's boys are charming, aren't they? And happiest when they have a woman to dote upon. Is that why you support him? The way you speak of him, it simply makes me curious.
I think he would make a better king than you believe.
Well, fair enough. I'll tell you this, my father must be stopped. Once he is kept from the throne, if it should fall to Alistair, then I will be content.
Does it make you uncomfortable siding against your father?
Of course it does. Do you think me heartless? But how much worse would I be to calmly stay at the side of a man who murdered my husband?
We should tell people what really happened to Kaelin.
They would not believe it, most of them, even from my lips. Loghain is the hero they've looked up to their whole lives. Far easier to believe you or me a liar than him a murderer and tyrant. That's why it will be critical to find some way to discredit him before the Landsmeet. We must have proof of my father's crimes for the bands, or they will never believe us.
Why did Loghain leave Kaelin to die? Do you know?
Kaelin was so idealistic. The world was his storybook, and he was the hero. My father is different. He's an idealist too, but he knows what idealism costs. They often clashed, but never seriously, never for long. Kaelin would always come round to Father's way of thinking eventually. And then the Blight came. Kaelin dreamed of uniting all the nations of Thedas against the Darkspawn. It was a dream. He wouldn't surrender. What my father saw, however, was the boy he had swaddled inviting Orlesian troops back into the land he had fought to free of them. And for once, my poor, foolish husband wouldn't back down.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It was more than just my own loss. But I thank you all the same.
What do you think will happen after the Landsmeet?
Do you want me to try my luck at fortune-telling? There was an old woman who read palms in the village of Gwarren when I was a child. She told me that I would have 10 children and be bald as a winter heath when I grew up. I can't say I put much faith in foretelling. What will happen depends much on you, Warden. But you certainly knew that already.
I'd like to understand Loghain better, if possible.
Well, he was once a farmer when he was a boy, if you can believe it. I never could myself. He's useless with plants, for one thing. I remember my mother once asking his help with a sick rose vine. My mother oversaw the rose gardens personally. He touched it. No more than that. And it shed half its leaves like a dog with mange. She never asked for him to help with her roses again. He bought her another one, though. He carried it back from Denerim with the branches overflowing his saddlebag. Despite the thorns tearing him bloody, he wouldn't let anyone else take it. He wanted to be the one to present it to her. My father has his faults, Warden, but he is far from common.
Why doesn't Loghain back down?
Because he believes he is right, Warden. He thinks he is the only one who can see Ferelden out of its current crisis, even if it is one he helped engineer. My father is capable of remarkable blindness, but it stems from his love of Ferelden. That is the saddest part of all, I think.
Is he truly beyond reason?
I hope not, but I fear it is so, yes.
Did he plan on overthrowing Kaelin before Ostagar?
I'm not sure. I had no inkling of my father's plans until Kaelin was already dead. I would like to think that my father planned for the worst, but did not truly decide that Kaelin was a lost cause until that moment in Ostagar. The alternative is difficult to imagine.
Why would he ever have trusted Al Howe?
Trust would perhaps be putting it too strongly. My father knew what How was, and while I despised the man, I knew that father relied on his political mind. I expect my father thought himself above being influenced by the snake. Truly, I wonder how many of these acts stemmed from How and not my father at all. We may never know.
I should go.
Then I wish you luck, Warden.
So I'm guessing someone told Anora I was planning to steal her throne. She has a nasty glare. Did anyone mention this wasn't my idea? I think she's a great queen. As far as I'm concerned, she's welcome to it.
I think you'd be a great king, Alistair.
Really? Whatever will give you that idea?
You have a kind heart and a strong sense of justice.
Well, it's nice that you think so. What do you think I should do? Go ahead and be king, just to let it happen?
You should do what you want to do.
I suppose I could always flip a coin. Got one handy. It's just that everything I've heard about Queen Anora is that she's the one who really ruled here, not Cailan. She's smart, tough, determined. Well, I feel a bit like Cailan's substitute. I think I'll be better off against the Darkspawn. All right, Alistair, enough whining. Thank you, Alistair. That's excellent advice. I'll do my best.
Don't you listen to him.
No, it's all right. The moment has passed. Time to face the music.
It is moments like this when I'm grateful for the inability to smell.
You too good to listen to elves? What do you want? Money? Money? You think you can buy us? You think we're so far beneath you, we'll just take whatever you give us? I think we better explain things to him. Someone's coming!
What was that about?
I knew I shouldn't have cut through here. Bloody knife ears.
Spare a silver for a war veteran?
Where'd you get injured, soldier?
Ostagar. Darkspawn took off half my foot.
This can get you a hot meal.
Oh, you're too kind, sir. Andraste's blessings to you.
Elves plant these trees to remind themselves of who they once were, and then they pee on it. Charming symbolism, really.
How do you even know they're working magic? They could just be chanting gibberish. It's not as if you'd ever know. Didn't the wedding teach you people anything? Nobody is coming here to help us.
I've got children at home. I can't wait out here for another day.
So go home. The best thing you can do for your children is not trust these charlatans.
Everyone remain calm. We will help as many as we can today, so long as we can do this in an orderly fashion.
Oh, you're helping us, are you, Shem? Like Valendrian and my Uncle Syrian, you helped them, didn't you? Helped them never to be seen again.
We've explained this to you before, girl. More whining will not persuade us to let you into the quarantine to carry plague back out to the alienage.
Quit trying to get us all killed, Shiani. Some of us have still got things to live for.
If this spell of theirs works, why are half the people they quarantine perfectly healthy?
There's a plague here.
What's wrong, Shem? Did you get bored and decide to come watch the elves die of plague? Wait. Sora's told me about you. You're the one who freed him from the dungeons. These foreigners say they're here to help with our outbreak of plague. Funny thing, though. All the people they help disappear.
That's not true, and you know it, Shiani. Both my sisters got the Tevinter spell cast on them, and they're fine.
Where's your niece, then? And my Uncle Syrian? And Valendrian?
If there's a plague, why are people out in the street?
These men from Tevinter say their magic will prevent people from catching it. But it doesn't work if you're already ill. So they set up a quarantine. But many of the ones they quarantine aren't sick. One of them was our Haran, Valendrian. And I don't know what we're going to do if we don't get him back.
What's a Haran?
He's He's the elder, the person who guides us. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but it's important to us.
Does the guard know about this?
They have to know about it. The Harren complained, and so did I. They just don't care, or something worse.
I'll try talking to the healers.
You can try. Those guards mean business.
I ask you to stand back. Some of these people are carrying the plague. The alienage is not safe for visitors.
Aren't you afraid of getting the plague?
If we did not know how to prevent the plague, we would not be here now.
For your own safety, we must ask you to leave now.
Is there something else you wanted?
Is there any other way into that house?
There's a side entrance in the alley. It's got only one guard.
How is that any better?
Fewer eyes, for one thing. It's up to you.
No, you can't go inside just for a moment. So you might as well walk right back around to the front doors. You shouldn't be out on the streets now anyway. What with the plague?
Aren't you afraid of getting the plague yourself?
What's worse, dying of the plague or dying of hunger? I'll take my chances with the plague, thank you, if it means I get paid. I've been hungry. The novelty's worn off.
How much do they pay you?
Not enough to put up with all these questions. What do you want?
Would you let me in that house for 6 sovereigns?
6? Sure. I never saw you, and you never saw me.
Verus, bring 7 males and 4 females for the next shipment. Caladrius. Shipment? They're shipping people. This place really is full of sick people.
Are you all right? What was in there? Where is everyone?
I found this note.
Let me see that. What does this even mean? They can't be shipping people, can they? Shipping them where?
I think why might be a better question.
I don't care why. I just want to find everyone who's missing. But how could they take them away? Wouldn't we see them? They could be moving through the back alleys. There are all sorts of buildings back there. They could be using one as some sort of warehouse, staging area.
There was a key with the note.
There are apartments off the alleys. I would go to the back of the hospice and maybe follow the alley from there. If you find any more information, please let me know. I refuse to accept that they're all simply gone.
$10 coppers for a dozen eggs. They say it's on account of the war. The chickens aren't going to war.
Who's there? Stay away!
Calm down. I just want to ask some questions.
I can't say nothing. Please, just go. I don't want trouble.
Would some coin change your mind?
All right. I saw them take everyone. Took them right out of their beds. Dragged them down the hallways. Baker, the little one's crying.
Where did they take everyone?
Through the landlord's old office. They go in there, they never come back.
What about Valendrian?
I saw him. They marched him through the hall with a bunch of others, all tied together like pack mules.
What else have you seen?
Every few days, they come back. It's like a parade, a silent one. Men and women and children. You have to go. They'll be back soon. They'll find out I talked and they'll take me too. Please, just go.
Bloodstains, broken furniture. Looks like the people that lived here put up a fight. How many elves have been abducted? It looks like a family lived here. What are they doing with all these people?
What's this? Another shipment already? We weren't... Wait. You're no Tevinter. Who are you supposed to be?
I'm here to relieve you. Weren't you told?
What? No, you're not. There's no body relieving us until midnight. Quick, get them, hurry!
Where next?
Fire. Time to do bloodletting, I see. Someone was keeping score.
What is the meaning of this? We were told that there would be no interference from the authorities.
I'm not with the authorities.
Oh? An errant group of do-gooders, then? You will regret this, you know. Believe it or not, we've been given dispensation to do our business here. You Fereldans talk a great deal about how very wrong slavery is. But isn't it funny how quickly the smell of gold overcomes such ideals?
You're slavers.
Do you have any idea how difficult it is to acquire new blood? These slaves will fetch an excellent price in the Imperium, and we're paying handsomely for this opportunity. But enough. I am here to halt your slaughter, nothing more.
Then step aside or be my next victim.
I am no fool. I can see that you are capable. So be it. I will let Caladrius deal with you while I fetch the Regent's men. I suggest you leave while you still can.
I am Caladrius, and you, I assume, must be the Grey Warden I've heard so much about.
You've heard of me?
One can hardly get a word out of the Regent besides Warden these days. It's surpassed even gold in popularity.
How do you know Loghain?
Yes, you would be curious about that, wouldn't you? I've heard that you're trying to erode Loghain's support. It must be a difficult task, yes, like washing away a mountain. Perhaps you could use some help.
Don't you have an agreement with Loghain?
More of an arrangement, truth be told. One that disappears the moment angry armed intruders storm my abode. Truth be told, there was always a limit to how long we were going to be able to operate here. We've paid for many of Loghain's troops, but once the Landsmeet is done, we become inconvenient. So, here is my offer. 100 sovereigns from you for a letter with the seal of the Terran of Gwaren upon it, implicating him in all of this. Then, we leave a few days earlier than planned with our profits and remaining slaves unharmed.
I suggest you look those elves in the eyes before you agree to have them hauled off to slavery, my friend.
So, do we have a deal? Even you must admit it's much better than resorting to barbarism, yes?
And how do I know this letter of yours is any good?
It's legitimate. Whether or not it will actually help you, of that I cannot say. Some people will not believe the truth even when it is right in front of them, yes?
I have a counter-offer.
Interesting.
You leave everything. Get out with your hides.
Now, that's not much of a deal, is it? Let's do this the hard way, then. Men, shall we? It seems your reputation is an accurate one. I surrender.
Perhaps you should be left to the mercies of these elves.
Wait! Hear me out, dear lady. Were I to use the life force of the remaining slaves here, I could augment your physical health a great deal. Allow me to leave this place alive, and I would be more than happy to do this little service for you. So, is my offer of interest to you, yes?
No, it isn't.
Then, I don't suppose you would consider just letting me go?
No, I don't suppose I would.
Ah. Well, that is a shame, isn't it?
You don't look like a Tevinter. Not that it means much. Are you one of them? What happens to us now?
Are you Valendrian? Shiani was looking for you.
Shiani? Did she send you here? Praise the Maker! We will not trespass long on your good graces. Come, everyone, let's go home.
Caladrius had the document with him. It explicitly authorizes the removal of elves from the alienage, and Loghain marked it with his seal. So much for the great Ferelden hero, selling his own citizens into slavery. At least we have the evidence for the landsmeet.
I'm sorry if I was rude to you before. Andraste's ass, you'd think I'd learned some social graces. Anyway, what I mean by all this is... thank you.
It was no trouble, Shiani. We were glad to help.
Ah, it's you. Welcome. Please, come in. Tell me, how is Duncan?
You know Duncan?
He's been a friend of mine for many years, yes. From the look on your face, I take it the news is bad.
He died at Ostagar.
I am sorry to hear that. I knew that the Warden suffered great losses at Ostagar, but a few escaped. I had hoped Duncan might be one of them.
How did you know Duncan?
He came here, now and then, to look for potential recruits. Perhaps that seems strange to you, but Duncan was a man who knew that talent could emerge in the most unlikely places.
What will you do about the plague now?
We've been through outbreaks of pestilence during the war with Orlais. We'll endure. I doubt very much now that the Tevinter intervention would have helped us anyway.
I should go.
Please, take this. Duncan gave it to me years ago. I suspect you'll put it to better use than I would.
Do you realize that you've been smiling for hours now?
Have I?
Since the last time you and that fool Alistair shot glances at each other, in fact. He must be pleasant enough in bed, for surely I cannot imagine anyone enduring his conversation.
I happen to love him, you know.
More's the pity for you, then. 'Tis a bit sickening to watch you two, but I imagine it at least takes your mind from our situation. Have it your way.
Your wish?
Care to tell me about that last mission now?
Yes, I suppose it is time. You have been a good friend to me after all. There is no reason to be silent. There is a reason I accepted this mission in Ferelden, far away from home, and it had nothing to do with any thought that I might leave the Crows. Meeting you, after all, was quite an accident. My last mission before this one did not end well.
What happened?
You must realize that until that day I was cocky and arrogant. I was the best crow in Antiva, I believed, and I bragged of my conquests often, both as an assassin and lover.
You were more cocky and arrogant.
Indeed. I was often told I was insufferable, right before I ended up in bed with someone. Such is how it was. One of the Crow Masters grew tired of my boasting. My bid for an incredibly difficult mark was accepted, much to my surprise. A wealthy merchant with many guards and completely silent. Taliesin agreed to be part of my team, as well as an elven lass named Rina. She was a marvel. Tough, smooth, wicked. Eyes that gleamed like justice. Everything I thought I desired.
I sense a tragic ending.
Rina was special. I had closed off my heart, I thought. But she touched something within me. It frightened me. When Taliesin revealed to me that Rina had accepted a bribe from the merchant, told him of our plan, I readily agreed that she needed to pay the price and allowed Taliesin to kill her. Rina begged me not to. On her knees, with tears in her eyes, she told me that she loved me and had not betrayed us. I laughed in her face and said that even if it were true, I didn't care.
That was utterly cruel.
Yes, it was. Taliesin cut her throat, and I watched her bleed as she stared up at me. I spat on her for betraying the Crows. When Taliesin and I finally assassinated the merchant, we found the true source of his information. Rina had not betrayed us, after all.
I'm so sorry.
I wanted to tell the Crows what we had done, our mistake. Taliesin convinced me not to. He said it would be a foolish waste. So we reported that Rina had died in the attempt. We needn't have bothered. The Crows knew what we had done. The master who disliked me told me so to my face. He said the Crows knew, and they didn't care. And one day, my turn would come.
So you felt guilty?
I felt empty. I felt as if I was nothing. I felt as if she had been nothing. You once asked why I wanted to leave the Crows. In truth, what I wanted was to die. What better way than to throw myself at one of the fabled Grey Wardens? And then, this happened, and here I am.
Do you still want to die?
No. What I want is to begin again. Whatever it is I sought by leaving Antiva, I think I have found it. I owe you a great deal.
I'm glad to have you with me.
Let us return to your mission, shall we? Suddenly, I do not feel like standing about.
I have been mistaken.
What do you mean?
You are a soldier worthy to stand among the Beresad. I did not think so when we first met.
What changed your mind?
You did, of course. The day will come when the Arishok sends us here. On that day, I will not look to find you on the battlefield.
You think the Qunari will invade Ferelden?
In time.
There is no point in dwelling on it. We should move on.
I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you?
I've heard some rumors about Orlesian spies.
There are many rumors about spies, Orlesian or otherwise. What are you referring to exactly?
They say you will do almost anything to achieve your goals.
I admit I have done many despicable things in my lifetime. I do what I have to do. So do you. So does everybody. Sometimes we must do terrible things to get what we want. If it is any consolation, I always try to use non-violent means to achieve my ends.
It often takes more effort, though.
Some bards rely on torture to get what they want. It works effectively, as many will bend under the threat of bodily harm. But there are better ways, more subtle and kind. You will be surprised how easily a person will open up to you, even if all you offer is a listening ear. People respond eagerly to others who they believe understand them. They seek approval, friendship, sometimes love. This can be exploited.
And this is better than violence?
You don't think it is? I took what I wanted from them, leaving them none the wiser and unharmed. It is a game, one that can be won with little bloodshed if one plays well.
At least violence is honest.
And crude. Why not make someone want to do what you suggest, instead of forcing them to do it? Everyone can be seduced by the right woman. The trick is predicting who she is and becoming her. Master the game, and no one can resist you.
I could never do that.
And rust his ashes. How she lies! I've seen the looks you give to Alistair. The downcast eyes, the coy smiles. Oh no, don't try to protest. I know how a woman tries to snare a man. Maybe it is subconscious, but you do it. But come, it is getting late, and there is much to be done.
There you are. I was thinking, we've been through a lot together now. We're like old war buddies. So I figured, why not invite you to share a drink, huh? A drink from my own stash, my family's recipe, and dedicated to my comrades in arms.
I'd like that very much.
Yes! The warden steps up! You handled that like a champion, my friend. Most impressive. How do you feel?
Was there even any alcohol in there?
That's the spirit. I just wanted to tell you, after all we've been through, you're like family to me. Closest thing I've had in years.
A toast, then. To comrades in arms.
Aye, a toast with a dry cup. You're not getting any more of my brew. So, do you want to talk about something?
Nothing for now.
Aye, all right then.
All right. I guess I really don't know how to ask you this.
Ask me what?
Oh, how do I say this? You think it would be easier, but every time I'm around you, I feel as if my head's about to explode. I can't think straight.
That's very sweet.
Here's the thing. Being near you makes me crazy. But I can't imagine being without you. Not ever. You're the first woman I've ever spent the night with. And if I have my way, you'll be the last.
I feel the same way.
Good. I'm glad.